Now he's on.
Very little offense from all four teams that were involved in races early in their games. Back to U.S. Cellular at 2:28 Eastern Time. There's some offense for you. Paul Konerko off Brian Bullington. Cliff Lee was supposed to start this game, but a stiff neck prevents it from happening. So Bullington, you got to believe, a lot more conducive to giving up runs than Cliff Lee. So it's tied at 1. Back to the Metrodome. They know the score. 1-1 there, 0-0 here, and Baker gets Buck to buckle his knees. Bagel stay on the board.
Paint the corner right there.
Back to Chicago, bottom 2, tied at 1. Bases loaded. Juan Uribe. Now the White Sox fans figure, all right, Minnesota's in a tie game. Maybe we can get a lead, and they get some help.
Yes, they did. Jamie Carroll hurt him with the bat this series, but helped him out with the glove a couple of times.
2-1 White Sox.
Got that in-between hop, handcuffed him.
But he did everything right. He had his hands down. He opened the glove up. Bad hop for him now. Chicago up 3-1. One on for Asdrubal Cabrera. Back up the middle. Burley was spectacular.
One of 4 ground ball double plays from Mark Burley in this game.
All right, so the White Sox got a 3-1 lead. Minnesota knows that. Minnesota needs to win here. Well, there's going to be some trouble if Chicago stays on top. Gardenhire, 2 on, 2 outs for Denard Span. Maybe breakthrough player of the year?
Quite possibly.
Yeah, he's been outstanding.
In stereo.
Quite possibly. 1-0 Twins.
Yes.
Thank you. Top 5, Baker is cruising. They've gotten some good pitching here lately. Alex Gordon chasing. The next batter, Kayla Kai, and he's gone. 2 down. John Buck comes up, and Buck already having a bad day. Baker would strike out the side in the 5th inning, so Minnesota has got themselves a 2-0 lead. Like the White Sox, each have a 2-run cushion.
A good late life in that fastball from Baker.
Just before 4 o'clock in the East, top 7, 3-1, Franklin Gutierrez. To short, Orlando Cabrera's been in the crossfires of Ozzie Guillen. Burley's last pitch, 7 innings, 6 Ks, and only an earned run. He was a stud today. Bottom 7, A.J. Przinsky, deep to right field. Watch Grady Sizemore, playing for nothing more than his own pride, makes a ridiculous catch.
Knows the outfield so well. You saw him take his head off the ball real quickly 2 times before he went into the air, and that's a great catch with that cyclone fence. You're spiking it, and you can hurt your ankle or Achilles.
Thank goodness he didn't do anything to that ankle. Jermaine Dye, this is the big hit. It kind of breaks it open. It's 5-1 after Uribe and Cabrera score.
It's amazing how you contrast Burley and CC Sabathia. 2 lefties who dominated today with completely different stuff.
Travis Hafner grounds to first. The White Sox win 5-1. They know they'll live to see another day. Now they're hoping that Minnesota would relinquish their cushion. Let's go back to the Dome. Bottom 8, Minnesota's got Joe Mauer, the MVP candidate, up to the plate at 5-11. And Mauer battling Dustin Pedroia for the batting title. There's that game's huge hit. This is good to make it 6-0. Give Mauer his 2nd hit of the day. Give him a triple and give him the batting title. 6-0. Top 9. Twins are up by that score. 2 out for Mark Teahen. Teahen back up the middle. Alexi Casilla is there. Fires it over. Minnesota can now wait and watch as the Tigers try to take down the White Sox tomorrow. But for today, both win.
Kind of crazy. I mean, obviously play 161 games, and today's supposed to be the last day of the year. Everybody going home. A lot of people going to the playoffs, and here we got to play another game. That matters for us.
At least we have another shot. At least we have 2 shots. And I think if we just need to win. You know, I just told the coaches, if we win 1 game, we might free a little bit and feel a little bit better about themselves, and hopefully that situation happen. You know, the only thing we can do is just win the next 2 games and play the best we can the next day. Everybody should be ready for the next 2 games. See, I take my chance. We're playing here.
We can control our own fate. I mean, keep on winning these games, and we can keep on going. So we put ourselves in a situation, so we gotta battle out of it.
All right, so you're not seeing it wrong. 2 o'clock Eastern Time tomorrow on ESPN2. That will be the Tigers and the White Sox. The White Sox in Detroit playing their 162nd games. This is a makeup from a rainout. Chicago obviously needs to win It would be their second consecutive win. Bring Buster Olney in here. They haven't won 3 games in a row, which is ultimately what they're going to have to do since early in September. How about the pitching matchup, Buster?
It could be a fascinating case, Carl, of what comes around goes around. If you go back to mid-July, Freddie Garcia was an unsigned free agent. He's coming back from shoulder surgery. He's trying to reestablish himself and to set up an audition in front of scouts. He went out to dinner with Ozzie Guillen, who's a friend of his. He's, of course, his former manager with the White Sox. And after that dinner, what Ozzie Guillen told reporters was this. He did not think that Fred Garcia was going to come back and pitch this year in the big leagues. He said, he's my friend. But when I see him and where he's at right now, I don't see that happening. And he went on to say, I don't think by August, maybe September, Freddie hasn't even thrown off a mound. Now, basically what happened is on August 5th, he went and actually did throw in front of scouts, and he signed with the Detroit Tigers. He's made a couple starts in the big leagues despite what Ozzie thought he was going to do. He's allowed 5 earned runs and 10 innings pitched, and he's going to be taking the ball tomorrow for the Tigers with an opportunity to send Ozzie Guillen and the White Sox home.
These guys are buddies. I mean, they're friends. They're almost relatives, aren't they, with through marriage?
That's right. He's married to one of Ozzie Guillen's cousins. They're still friends, but he's still going to carry to the mound a competitive chip on his shoulder.
All right, so that's the Freddie Garcia side of things. Thank you very much, Buster. And again, we'll have more from Buster and Peter Gammons in a second. What about Gavin Floyd? I mean, what can he bring to the table in this? I think he's been sort of impressive for a lot of people during the middle part of the season.
Well, he has. You know, he's a guy that got brought up to the big leagues by the Philadelphia Phillies. He didn't get off to the great start that a first-round pick they thought a first-round pick should. They automatically claim this guy can't pitch in the big leagues, especially in Philadelphia. And obviously, that hasn't worked out for the Chicago White Sox because he got a new lease on life. But you watch him pitch right now, and all you see is confidence. He has confidence to throw his breaking ball behind the count, which he never had before when he was in Philadelphia. He'll throw his fastball at 91, 92 miles an hour. He'll run it in. He'll throw it away to right-handed hitters. He'll throw it away to lefties. I mean, he has pretty much a complete package of pitching. And right now, with Mark Buehrle, he's probably their best pitcher.
If they win this game, the White Sox, then they'll play again the next day, Tuesday, at home against the Twins. What do you make of the White Sox karma? I mean, you look at the Brewers, you look at the Rays, the Angels. They all seem to feel good about themselves. Does it matter how the White Sox feel about themselves?
Well, with the White Sox, it's kind of like flipping a coin. Who's going to show up? And I think that's the question tomorrow. Who's going to show up, the good White Sox or the bad White Sox? We've seen how great they are when everything is clicking and the guys are really locked in as a team to perform. But then you can see the exact opposite in less than 24 hours at times. So it's a big question mark. And I think there's some uncertainty. Even when you look at the post-game interviews, you didn't really sense in the eyes or in the voices that this team is right where they want to be and they believe they're going to take tomorrow's game and get it to Tuesday. They're hoping. And in this situation, yeah, you hope that you come out and you play well. But I just don't see the conviction, and we'll have to wait till tomorrow and see.
Right, and we're all looking forward to that. And if you want to hear Steve's take on that, you can watch tomorrow at 2 Eastern on ESPN2. 3 good, solid hours with that guy. He's ready.
Wait. What? Tigers, White Sox, only 3 hours? No chance. And Phillips, no chance.
We'll come back. Is this the year the Cubs break that 100-year jinx, hex, whatever you want to call it? And will Manny be Manny? Will he be the man? Dodgers going to the playoffs. A preview of all the series we know about coming up.
What's going on, big guy?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, you're going to love this. I'm wearing the new Hanes boxer briefs.
Oh, yeah?
They don't ride up your leg. Check it out.
Underwear that stays put. New from Hanes. That's the Comfort Fit Promise.
Did you know 1 in 3 men will face prostate issues?
1 in 3? Really?
That's why One A Day Men's is a complete multivitamin with selenium, which emerging research suggests can help prostate health. One A Day Men's.
Close the office today, JB?
Yeah, right. Watch this.
Bob Johnson.
Johnson, where's the shipment from Shanghai?
DHL cleared customs in the air and is scheduled to arrive at noon.
All right.
What about New Haven?
Left New York at 8:11 a.m. and is currently on a
truck. Johnson?
Sir?
Get tracking information sent to you anytime, anywhere. DHL. Ground, international, overnight. Customer service is back in shipping.
I'm poolside with John Graham, MVP of the Graham Honeymoon. John, what was the key for you this week?
Wow, I just really wanted to come out here and play my game, get the latest info on my fantasy players, then set my roster for total domination.
Can you describe your emotion?
Excited, proud, stuffed. They'll both face pretty robust.
Okay, back to you guys in the studio.
Be an ESPN MVP. Manage your fantasy teams, get live game casts, exclusive commentary, and more with VCast, only from America's most entertaining network.
Ever wonder how you just know someone was about to call? We believe that calls should be free. U.S. Cellular. Believe in something better.
In celebration of our 100th anniversary,
we're sharing our GM employee discount with everyone.
You pay what we pay.
Not a cent more.
The GM employee discount.
For everyone.
And now we've extended the discount through September 30th. Use it to get the 2008 Chevy Silverado with better available V8 fuel economy than Tundra and F-150. That's right. Get this 08 Silverado half-ton for around $20,500 after all offers.
Monday Night Football, folks. The Ravens will deal with the Pittsburgh Steelers, who's looked very good so far. 8:30 Eastern Time. You're punching your hand.
Let's eat.
You're getting that football mode.
Let's eat.
Chow time. Green field, green room. Monday night countdown, 7 o'clock Eastern Time. Ravens and Steelers at 8:30 Eastern Time. So we've talked about the White Sox and the role they have to play on Monday. And meantime, while the White Sox are trying to get into the postseason, the Cubs are very comfortably in already. By many accounts, they've been the best team, if not in baseball, certainly in the National League this year. But the White Sox just won a World Series 3 years ago in 05. It's been a century since the Cubs have done that. Tim Kirkshin has more on the Cubs, their curses, and all things that come to collide if they're trying to end this streak.
This might be the best team the Cubs have had since they last won the World Series, but that was 100 years ago, and so much pain has been inflicted since. Even the best Cub fans, especially the best Cub fans, can't be blamed for wondering what will go wrong this year. Can you blame them? The Cubs haven't been to the World Series since 1945. According to Chicago legend, a barkeeper placed a curse on the Cubs when he was not allowed to bring his goat inside Wrigley Field for Game 4 of the World Series against the Tigers. The curse of the Billy Goat, Cub fans maintain, has lived ever since. It is responsible for 1969. The Cubs led the division for 155 days. Then a black cat appeared on the field at Shea Stadium in September for a Cubs-Mets game. The cat looked right at Cubs manager Leo DeRocher, then disappeared under the stands. The Cubs lost the division race to the Mets. The Cubs won the division in 1984. During that season, they traded their first baseman, Bill Buckner, to the Red Sox to make room for first baseman Leon Durham. How symmetrical is that? And it was Durham, 2 years in advance of Buckner, who let a ground ball go through his legs, helping send the Padres, not the Cubs, to the World Series. And then there was poor Steve Bartman, who wrapped himself in controversy in the 8th inning of the NLCS against Florida in 2003 by reaching to catch a foul ball not far from Cubs left fielder Moises Alou. It didn't matter that years later, Alou said he wouldn't have been able to catch the ball anyway, but a curse is a curse, and Bartman is a part of it. It is the only curse left in baseball now that the Red Sox have ended theirs not once, but twice. Still, Cub fans look for reasons why this won't be the year, including having 4 players on the team whose last names end in no. Carlos Zambrano, Ronnie Cedeno, Alfonso Soriano, and Mike Fontenot. But maybe, yes, this will indeed be the year. Then we can gladly dump the cliche that pertains only to the Cubs. Any team can have a bad century.
Indeed they can. Tim, thank you very much. No, not. Chicago's hopes since they last won the World Series. 12 times they've been there. You see their record and their postseason series 1-12. The only win came in the 2003 National League Division Series, although they believe they deserved more. The inside pitch now. We'll go to our brains over there. Peter Gammons, Buster Olney now. And we'll start with you, Mr. Gammons, on the Dodgers and what they hope. As we just crossed the 10 o'clock hour in the East, we're going to focus on all these series that we know about. Let's start with L.A.
Well, I think the two things. I think the first is having Russell Martin and Andre Ethier getting on base over 40% of the time in the month of September in front of Manny Ramirez. That has to carry over. But I think a big change. Cuo has been one of the best left-handed relievers in the league. Their bullpen is very deep with Saito coming back and Broxton's set up. But key thing, can take 20-year-old Clayton Kershaw, put him in the bullpen. He's got as good a stuff as any young left-hander in the game. Now, they can put him in for an inning or two. It doesn't matter, right-handed, left-handed. He may become a very important guy in this playoff series. I think it'll be fascinating to see, particularly when they have a matchup of Fukudome or Edmonds.
I think, Peter, one of the most fascinating things about the Cubs is 6 weeks ago, when we looked at them, we thought that for sure their rotation was going to be one of the biggest strengths. And in fact, it may be the biggest question mark. And you can see by how they set up their rotation. Look, Ryan Dempster is starting game one. We thought midseason Carlos Zambrano, he's the highest paid guy. He would get the ball in game one. But the reality is the Cubs don't know what they're going to get out of Zambrano. Think about his last 8 starts. He's got a no-hitter, yes. The other 7 starts, 37 earned runs in 33 innings, a 10.09 ERA. He's starting game 2. Part of the reason why they're starting Ted Lilly in game 4 is because in case Zambrano blows up in game 2, they have Lilly, could potentially pitch in relief. Game 3 starter, Rich Harden, at times in his last start against the Mets, he was clocked at 85 miles per hour. He has made only 3 starts since August 29th. So a big question mark about that rotation, Carl.
Huge question marks. Thanks, Buster and Peter. More from those guys on the Brewers-Phillies series coming up. But first, the thoughts of these guys on this Cubs series. And Timmy mentioned it, the Zambrano of the world. You go from A with Alfonso to Z with Zambrano. I mean, they do have the bases covered, don't they?
Well, they do, but it is a concern, though. And Buster's exactly right. You know, Carlos Zambrano was supposed to have been the ace of this staff. He has the dominant stuff. But I think that the Chicago Cubs made a grave mistake when they allowed him to finish that no-hit game. He was only supposed to throw 80 pitches in this game against Houston, actually played in Milwaukee. He threw 110 pitches, and since then, he has not been the same. Velocity's not been there, but the biggest thing, when a guy has some arm problems and when his velocity's down, is location. And he's given up 13 earned runs in his next 2 starts in 6 1/3 innings. How does that equate to the postseason? Well, you see how it equates. Ryan Dempster's going to pitch in game 1 because they don't have confidence in him to go out there and be the first game pitcher at home against the Dodgers. I mean, that's a big concern. But I think that the Cubs, a team that all year said this is all about winning, it's all about getting to the World Championship, they let that slip for one night, and it could cost them because it became about an individual thing and not a thing that says this is what's best for our team. They let an individual accomplishment get in the way of what the team's goal is, and that's to win a World Series, and it could hurt them.
You hope it doesn't come back to hunt them. They've been hunted, as Tim said, enough. Derek Lowe can haunt a team in the postseason because he keeps that ball down. That's a big trouble for a Chicago team or anybody because he's been very good.
Well, you know, I think when you look at the National League pitching and you start to say, well, who's got the best pitching in the National League? Well, you start to think, well, the Diamondbacks, maybe the Cubs. The Los Angeles Dodgers have the best team ERA of anybody in the National League. And they're starting pitching in this series. Derek Lowe's got a big postseason resume. He's a guy who's pitching at his best right now, getting a lot of ground balls. Chad Billingsley's a guy who's really emerged as a front line of the rotation starter, very competitive guy. Hiroki Kuroda is going to get the Game 3 start. And when you look at the Dodgers pitching, they really can run out 3 quality right-handers and then quality power arms coming out of the bullpen. So when you look at that against the Chicago Cubs, the Cubs' strength of their lineup are right-handed hitters. It's Derek Lee, Ramos Ramirez, Alfonso Soriano. Remember, Kosuke Fukudome was benched at times during the course of the year. Jim Edmonds is a guy who can get overpowered with a good fastball, and that's what the Dodgers pitchers have. So this is not going to be the lopsided series where everybody thinks the Cubs are the team to beat. The Los Angeles Dodgers are going to make it very, very difficult because of their pitching and because, you know, Manny Ramirez comes up, gives some big hits. Who knows what can happen?
They're coming into this postseason with a lot of momentum as well, having the best month of the season, 17-8 in September. And if you go back about a month or so, this team really started to have fun and play baseball the way that they're capable of. Ironically, Jeff Kent went on the disabled list with a knee. Blake DeWitt inserted at second base, and they have been rolling. You can see it. Manny Ramirez is lighting up that clubhouse. on the field. It's showing they're performing well because Ramirez first got there, he was performing, but the team really wasn't winning at a better clip than they had prior. You go in the postseason, now you've got some guys like Derek Lowe has been there. You've got Manny Ramirez, he's been there. You've got Casey Blake last year there, championship series. So when you put all that together, I think they've got a healthy momentum going into October.
Lowe's numbers 4-4 actually in the postseason. In 04, he was 3-0. Dempster was in the postseason last season, but in a different role. So we'll see how he adjusts to being a starter. He's been so good in that role and better at home. Brewers and the Phillies, a preview. Buster and Peter rejoin us. Is this a really one-sided affair, or is there more than just CC to Milwaukee? And we'll sort out the Cy Young Awards when we return.
Yeah, I've been spending a lot of time doing that.
Alex!
Oh, no.
Alex!
Whoa, what's up with your dad?
Son!
Since we got Rap City on Verizon Wireless, I get all my favorite music. Unfortunately, my dad gets his favorites, too.
Alexander Garrett, why won't you answer your dad?
So does my mom.
That was weird at that age, too.
Rhapsody on Verizon Wireless. Access to millions of songs, and you get them all for one flat rate. Enjoy them on a touchscreen Samsung Glide for $79.99. Verizon Wireless.
MGD 64.
I'll have 64 calories of Bud Light.
12 ounces, 64 calories. MGD 64. As light as it gets.
Having an issue with your deodorant? Try Gillette Clinical Strength Antiperspirant. With odor-fighting microcapsules and wetness protection, that's 34% better than a prescription product. Gillette Clinical Strength Antiperspirant. Change your life, not your shirt.
Where can you find me? At the intersection of my new life and my new lifestyle. Driving.
Wheatgrass?
Yeah, how was it?
Change the scenery? A State Farm agent will be there to help you get the right coverage at a great price.
You know that place where there's never a rain delay? I am so there.
Call, click, or visit and start saving today. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
What's this? It's wheatgrass. So what do you think of my screenplay?
Each year, food executives come to Grasse, France, to work with Roxanne. Here in this centuries-old town, Cargill creates flavors, and food companies come to collaborate with Cargill, creating unique tastes from thousands of rare flavors. Helped by Roxanne, an ingredient mixing robot, and a team of flavor experts. Food companies find the recipe for success. This is how Cargill works with customers.
Hello.
Get James warming up.
Excuse me?
Come on, guys, quit playing games. Get Bobby up right now.
I think you got the wrong number.
What? Who is this?
Dude, you called me, all right?
Say, I don't know what you...
Milwaukee Brewers get it done. The two-headed monster today was that guy, Ryan Braun, and CC Sabathia. Little over 72 hours prior, Braun hit a grand slam, the biggest home run of his career. And then what does he do today? It's the go-ahead home run in the 8th inning to give Milwaukee a 3-1 lead. Ryan Braun has been an all-star this season and a superstar for Milwaukee. He had an oblique injury, but obviously that's okay. And Braun and CC are heading to the postseason. It's a team game, but certainly one of the two heroes of the Brewers joining us now live on Baseball Tonight, and that's Ryan Braun, the Progressive Insurance Hotline. Ryan, you got CC Sabathia and yourself. A couple of days ago, you hit the grand slam, so did you think you would top it with this home run?
No, definitely not this soon. You know, obviously, just an incredible feeling. This win means so much to this team, to this organization, and to this city, and I couldn't be happier for my teammates or for everybody that's helped us get to this point.
You absolutely killed that ball. Were you waiting for a fastball, and what does it feel like when you're waiting for something and it actually comes?
You know, it kind of felt like a spring training game because they were throwing a different pitcher every inning or two. So I think the easiest thing to do is just to look for a fastball and adjust, and I got the fastball, put a good swing on it, and you know, it's pretty amazing.
Put us in that clubhouse. After you watch the Mets get beaten, what's it like for the Brewers to celebrate?
It's incredible. You know, this is why you play the game. This is why you work hard all off season. This is why you work hard in spring training. And for us as a team, we've overcome so much adversity this year. It's really been an emotional roller coaster. But to end on a high note just means so much to everybody in here. And now you know how it works. You get Sabathia, who could very well go on 3 days rest again. You may have lost Sheets for at least the division series, if not the rest of the season. What's the Brewer mindset? What's your mindset going into this series? I think the fact just that we've played meaningful, competitive games over the past week is something that's really going to benefit us come postseason time, because basically we've approached every game over the last week like the 7th game of the World Series. So we're ready. We're excited to get out there and compete. And one last thing, we just don't want to discount what Ned Yost has done to help us get to this point. He's really meant so much to this team and this organization.
Well said. And lastly, what do you put into the stock of CC Sabathia? I mean, what did you witness the last, ever since he got there? What have you witnessed?
I think I got an opportunity to watch the best pitcher in the world compete every 5 days for the first couple months and every 3 days this month. So he's been absolutely incredible, without a doubt our team MVP, and certainly one of the most selfless acts probably in the history of baseball. He's just been incredible.
We appreciate it, Ryan Braun. Thanks for joining us on Baseball Tonight.
Thanks, Carl.
That's one well-spoken man to two others as we take a look at this Brewer-Phillies series. No, not you, John, or you, Chris, or Steve. We're going to get to Buster and Peter in just 1 second. But here are the numbers. The Phillies kind of dominated the regular season, going 5-1 against them. They hit almost 300. The home runs are negligible. It's ultimately who wins. And Philly took 5 of 6. Let's get the inside pitch again from Peter and Buster, and we'll start with you, Mr. Gammons, on what the CC Sabathia trade not only meant to Milwaukee, which may be obvious, but to Cleveland.
Well, they traded him at the right time, because they would have ended up with 2 number-1 picks. But what they've ended up with is a lot better. Matt Laporta was announced at the time of the deal. Tremendous slugging prospect out of the Brewers organization. But they had a side deal. If the Brewers made the postseason, they got one of the Brewers' other 5 best prospects, a center fielder named Michael Brantley. Hit 319 with 50 walks, 27 strikeouts, 30 stolen bases in Double-A. So they end up with 2 prime players for CC Sabathia instead of just getting 2 draft choices.
Peter, I think this time of year we look for guys who are hot. And for the Philadelphia Phillies, one of those who's very hot right now is Ryan Madson. Look, I talked to him the other day. He said on August 28th, after he allowed 3 earned runs against the Cubs, he was sitting in front of his locker, Chad Durbin next to him. They said, this is a final test going down the stretch. He decided he was going to be more aggressive, and it's absolutely paid off. Since then, 14 to third innings, only 1 earned run allowed, only 1 walk, 18 strikeouts. His presence will be big in this series because he essentially has taken over from Tom Gordon in that middle relief role. You know, in a situation, he's going to get matched up against a Ryan Braun or a J.J. Hardy or a Corey Hart down the stretch. So that Phillies bullpen, second best in all of baseball, Carl, is going to be big in the series against the Phillies, against the Brewers.
Against the Brewers, exactly. 3 o'clock Eastern time on Wednesday, that game starts. The Dodger game will be at 6:30 Eastern time, so we look forward to those starting times, and stay tuned to Baseball Tonight during the week. Granted, the Indians may get a lot back, but it's obviously been worth it for CC Sabathia and the Milwaukee Brewers. So let's go to the Dodgers and the Phillies here. And, John, what's going to be the key to that one? Well, check me, the Brewers.
Well, I think it's going to be how are the Brewers' bullpen going to cope with this high-powered offense of the Philadelphia Phillies? They have yet to establish a closer. Believe me, they've tried pretty much everyone. They pretty much settled on Solomon Torres. You know, Mota's been doing it. Gagne's been trying to do it. But I tell you what, the Phillies are one of the best teams I've seen in a long, long time that tack on extra runs against weak bullpens. This could be a big factor in this series.
Well, for me in this series, Jimmy Rollins of the Phillies leadoff man. Here's a guy that sets the table. When he goes, the Phillies go. They are 42-15 when he scores a run, and he can really electrify a ball game, not just with his glove, but with his bat and his legs.
Well, guys, we talked about these bullpens, but I think the big difference is the 9th inning. Brad Lidge, 41 out of 41 in save opportunities. And I think the Phillies have to feel comfortable. If they have the lead going to the 9th, they're going to come out of it with a win. And I'm not sure the Brewers can look at it the same way. Lidge, I think, the guy that makes the difference. You can go Hamels and Sabathia. You can go the big bats for the Phillies against the big bats for the Brewers. But the bullpen and Brad Lidge are the biggest difference factor in this series.
Again, 3 o'clock Eastern time on Wednesday, 6:30 for the Dodgers series. The Red Sox and Angels, which we'll talk about later, will be played Wednesday at 10 o'clock Eastern time. We'll come back on this edition of Baseball Tonight. Lincecum, no postseason. Will there be a Cy Young Award in his offseason? What a day he had on the mound on Sunday. 23 enough for Cliff Lee, or is Roy Halladay going to get in? Talk to the men who are voting when we come back.
Play Streak for the cash and you could win $1 million. Go to ESPN.com, search Streak.
His was the oldest registered distillery in the United States. From a place where the water was cool, clean, and iron-free. Perfect for making whiskey. Charcoal mellowed drop by drop for smooth sipping. The Tennessee way. Which is not the easy way. But it was his way.
This is how you enter the App Store.
And this is how you browse over 1,000 new apps. And this is how you download one, right to your phone. And this is when you realize this is going to change everything.
Close the office today, AJB?
Yeah, right. Watch this.
Bob Johnson.
Johnson, where's the shipment from Shanghai?
DHL cleared customs in the air and is scheduled to arrive at noon.
All right.
What about New Haven?
Left New York at 8:11 a.m. and is currently on a
truck. Johnson? Sir?
Get tracking information sent to you anytime, anywhere. DHL. Ground, international, overnight. Customer service is back in shipping.
It's a miss.
Bad check.
1 second. Oh, hey, Michael.
Hey, Chris, what's going on?
Just finishing up.
Have you seen Kirk anywhere?
No, he's not in his room.
No. What's all this?
Sometimes I like to sink my own battleships.
Do you know Game Day? Go to collegegameday.com to find out. ESPN College Game Day, built by the Home Depot. Saturdays at 10 a.m.
We're looking to get our hands on the hottest ticket of the year.
My goodness, do you believe this?
But they don't just give them away. You have to earn it.
And there was no doubt about that one.
No free passes here. It takes hard work to get in. It would be our first postseason party, so we're showing up early and plan on staying late. There's only one October.
We're back here on Baseball Tonight. Anybody see what Tim Lincecum did today? Already with a very impressive Cy Young resume against the Dodgers today. All he did was allow 1 earned run in 7 innings, but he struck out 13 more. 265 Ks is the second highest strikeout total in the history of the Giant franchise. Just look at that number compared to any other number on this. You could argue 22 and 18. If Lincecum got some of the wins in games he left with a lead, he'd be a lot closer to 22. But that number, the 265, stands out like a sore thumb in this thing. That being said, if you had a Cy Young vote, who'd you vote for?
Oh, boy. I had Lincecum up to about a week ago, and then Johan Santana's kind of swayed me a little bit because of what he did down the stretch for the New York Mets, pitching on 3 days rest, trying to get this team back in. But Lincecum's pitching on a team that is not what you call an adept offensive squad. So for him to win that many games on a team that lost 90 games, it reminds you kind of like when Steve Carlton won 27 and the Phillies lost, what, 50-something games, or only won 50-something games. I mean, it's that dominant a performance that he had. The strikeouts speak for themselves.
You're leaning towards Lincecum.
I'm leaning towards Lincecum right now, yes.
How about you, Chris?
There's no question Lincecum has had a great season, but when you look at what Santana has done over the last couple of starts, I mean, the whole season's been great. Here's a guy signs a huge contract. He goes onto the biggest stage that there is in baseball in New York, and he delivers the goods, and not just through the regular season, but when it counted the most. Yesterday's performance, almost emotional, even if you're not a Mets fan, to see what he did. But you don't really consider that. The guys that vote, they look at the numbers, they break it down in a very scientific way. I think as former players, we tend to look at how it meant those wins and those appearances for the team and how it impacted the season.
Hard one. I mean, if you fell off of the moon and landed on the earth and just looked at numbers, wouldn't Lincecum get the edge?
Well, Johan Santana is the ERA champion in the National League, so he gets the edge over Lincecum in that number. I mean, strikeouts are certainly important, but I mean, ultimately, getting outs and keeping runners off base and not giving up runs is ultimately what I think shows the ability to dominate. Now, I think that they were close in innings pitched. I think ultimately Webb got the wins, but Johan Santana, in my mind, is the guy who deserves the National League Cy Young Award. He could have had 6 other wins. The bullpen ended up giving it up. He had 27 quality starts, 2 more than the next closest guy. And I think when you look at the entire season, I think Johan Santana was the most dominant guy. He had not lost a game since June 28th. I mean, absolutely phenomenal final 3 months of the season.
Are there different criteria going on here? Most dominant, big games, strikeouts, ERAs. Let's bring Peter Gammons in here. A lot of people will say, if you use Santana and his ability to come through in big games, why not CC Sabathia? Why not CC Sabathia?
Because the total body of work wasn't there. He only pitched a little bit more than half the season in Milwaukee. I think because you had 3 pitchers who were so good in the National League, I mean, I really feel it's really unfair to Webb to get so devalued. His record got devalued because of 3 starts. He got hit by a line drive, the next 3 starts in the chest. His delivery was gone. Those are 3 tough starts, but it probably cost him. I mean, Santana was 1, Lincecum 2 in quality starts. But the thing for me, yes, the Mets lost six leads for Santana. The Giants lost 6 leads for Lincecum. I think with those overall numbers, Lincecum is probably going to end up winning the thing.
Interesting. All right, Peter, we'll get the thoughts of Buster on the American League in just a second. The candidates there, everyone knows what Cliff Lee did. And midway through the season, and then certainly down the stretch, they said, he's the guy. 22-3. Sub 2.55 ERA, been outstanding. This was the late charger. Here was the horse on the outside. Roy Halladay, 9 complete games, over 200 strikeouts, nearly 250 innings pitched, and another 20-game season of wins. K-Rod gets some consideration, too, with the 62 saves, setting a record. He blew 7 of them, and you see his ERA at 2.24. Let's bring in one of the guys who has a vote on this American League Cy Young. That's Jeff Baker of the Seattle Times, who joins us on the Progressive Insurance Hotline. We talked about K-Rod, Halladay, and Cliff Lee. Who's your choice?
Well, I think I'm going to buck the trend and go with Roy Halladay in a tight vote over Cliff Lee. I think both men had excellent seasons. I like the fact that Halladay's thrown a substantial number more innings than Cliff Lee. I like the fact he's thrown more complete games. And I also think the strength of the schedule he faced was a lot tougher than what Lee had to face. I mean, Halladay had to go up against the Red Sox, the Yankees, the Rays, so something like 5 times apiece. Lee went 5-0 against the Kansas City Royals, but Halladay only got to face that team 1 time. Halladay also had to face the Texas Rangers twice in the first month of the season. I think they've both been excellent. You look at the peripheral numbers, Lee's got a slight advantage in ERA, but Halladay also made 3 more starts. I don't like to look at wins and losses so much. I know Halladay has all those losses, but the fact is he also threw 30. He also had the decision in 33 games, compared to 25 for Lee. I like that fact. I also think Halladay has tended to get more strikeouts, more ground balls, not as many fly balls as Lee, and Halladay's also allowed a few more home runs on those fly balls, which shows that Lee might have had a little bit of luck playing into his factor. So in a very, very close race, I would lean towards Halladay just based on the number of innings to complete games.
All right, Jeff, the Mariners are going to have an interesting offseason. We look forward to reading you in the Seattle Times, and thanks for joining us on Baseball Tonight.
Anytime.
All right, we'll go the other way now. Let's start with you, Steve. I mean, this is like, all right, get 2 Springsteen songs. Which one do you like better? How do you argue against either one, including K-Rod in this?
Well, I mean, certainly you take all 3, and I think all of them had great seasons and Cy Young worthy consideration. But I think Cliff Lee has to be the guy. I mean, from the first start until the last start, he led the American League in ERA. He was absolutely dominating all season long. I mean, he got the wins for a very poor team. And I think in this situation, losses are a little bit of a factor when you look at these 2 guys in Halladay and with Cliff Lee, because they're pitching deep into the game and ultimately making pitches to decide whether that game is won or lost. I think a little bit different with wins. I think that if you lose games, it's because of something that you did oftentimes, unless you're not getting the run production that's there. So ultimately, I think Cliff Lee, the best pitcher in the American League, he wins the ERA title and the wins. I don't think there's a way to argue against him.
Well, I agree with mine. Cliff Lee, from start to finish, has been consistent this year. He's been so impressive and fun to watch. Roy Halladay, we know he's an animal as well. When he takes the ball, he wants to go 9 innings. You talk about the argument of, well, Cliff Lee pitched in the Central and Halladay a tougher division, but sometimes there can be a letdown mentally for a pitcher when he's going against a ball club that doesn't seem as good. He's not as sharp. So there's more to look at than just those numbers. I think you have to try to get into the feel of the game and what the pitchers do when they take them out against whoever, because you can get beat on any given day. But Cliff Lee, consistent from beginning to end, and I think it's his year. He deserves it. He had a tough year last year with the up and down. And Roy Halladay, every year he's going to be a consideration for us.
You take body of work. I mean, you want 1 game, you're going to take Halladay in spite of the 22-3 mark, but that's the beauty of awards. It's about this season, not body.
You're exactly right. Roy Halladay is the best pitcher in the American League. The problem is he's probably not the best pitcher numbers-wise this year. Just like Albert Pujols is the best player in the National League, he might not win the MVP award because of someone else had a better year statistically. But Cliff Lee, I agree with Chris. Sometimes when you vote on, you say, well, he played in a worse division. He was 5-0 against the Royals. You know what? When they gave him the ball to pitch, he went out and pitched and won. And that, to me, is a sign of a guy that came into the season with no expectation on him whatsoever. The Cleveland Indians didn't know what they were going to get out of him, and they get 22-3, and a team that was out of it by the 2nd month of the season. Yeah, that's impressive, and I think that's why he's going to win the award. But you're right. 1 win, I'm taking Big Roy.
Right. And you think about Carmona and Sabathia started the season on the team that leaded. He gets the 22 wins. Let's get Buster Olney's thoughts on the American League Cy Young Award.
I had a general manager say to me this week, there's no question that if you were to start a pitching staff, the first 2 names you'd come up with would be CC Sabathia and Roy Halladay. But you know what? In 2008, it was Cliff Lee's year. He basically was wire to wire in ERA. And really, down to the wire, there was a question of whether or not he was going to post the greatest season in terms of winning percentage of any pitcher in the history of baseball. Cliff Lee's the American League Cy Young Award winner.
All right. And we'll stamp that. We'll take a break here. When we come back, the Red Sox attempting to go back-to-back and win another World Series. They're going out west. They've had success against the Angels in the postseason. Not a great day today for Boston. We'll look back on their Yankee series. And a preview is ahead. Boston, Los Angeles. Are they the 2 best teams in spite of the records in the American League?
I can have an MGD 64, please.
A margarita 64?
Okay. 12 ounces, 64 calories.
Enjoy.
MGD 64. As light as it gets.
All right, firefighters, settle down. How about the budget? And the taxes?
One page or less.
Anyone want better roads?
We do.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Done. A lot of paper to tell us we need clean water. Need clean water, guys? All right, this is the easiest job I've ever had. We're out of here.
Get work done now. Communicate in less than a second with rugged Nextel Direct Connect phones. Only on the Now Network.
Should a man over 50 take the same multivitamin as a woman?
I don't think so.
One a day men's 50 plus advantage. The only complete multivitamin with support for prostate and heart health. Plus more ginkgo for memory and concentration. From One a day.
Tomorrow, heated rivals collide for control of the AFC North as Ray Lewis and the punishing Ravens D take on Big Ben and the Steelers. ESPN Monday Night Football, Ravens-Steelers, tomorrow at 8:30.
Ready to do the darling?
Daddy, Rich.
Wednesday. With this much money, the Darlings are playing with fire.
Are you prepared to let them get away with murder?
ABC's Dirty Sexy Money. The season premiere Wednesday at 10/9 Central on ABC.
300 horsepower is fast. 400 will take your breath away. That's why we gave it 451. The C63 AMG. The C-Class. Now in its most potent form ever.
Ross Postian understands Iowa. Ross Postian is a small businessman who's a 5th-generation award-winning farmer and a past president of the Farm Bureau. Now, Ross Postian wants to serve Scott County as our state representative, to renew and grow our economy and promote good-paying jobs, to fight high taxes and reckless spending, and work on getting our energy prices down again. Ross Postian understands our needs. Ross Postian for state representative.
Back here during the break, Steve was patting himself on the back for winning some fantasy league.
Congratulations, Steve.
Thank you very much.
Johnny Pesky Day at Fenway Park. The Yankees pay their respects. Johnny Pesky, a familiar face with Red Sox Nation for about 50, 60 years.
Pretty good breaking ball by the Dice Man.
A-Rod walks Xavier Nady off Matsuzaka to right, and it is gone.
That is the untire.
It does untie it. The Yankees lead at 3-zip. Mike Mussina, after win number 20, gets Jason Bay. Jed Lowry in the bottom of the 5th. He'll go down looking. Inning over, Mussina on his way to what would be his 20th win of the season. Yankees beat the Red Sox in the first of 2, part of a split doubleheader. Game 2 is currently tied 3-3. Let's get the thoughts of Buster on Mike Mussina's future. He's still somewhat away from getting his 300th win. Does he come back?
Well, it's interesting, Carl. Today, with getting his 20th win, he's the oldest player ever to get his 20th win, but he may also be the first 20-game winner to retire since Sandy Koufax after winning 20 games. I talked to him last week, and what he said was, look, I know it's probably going to take me 3 seasons to get those last 30 wins to go on and win 300 games, and I don't know if I want to do that. He can't count on doing it over the next 2 seasons. So I think right now he is leaning toward going back to Montoursville, Pennsylvania, and coaching his son in Little League and moving on with the rest of his life and walking away from baseball despite getting that first 20-win season. I think today's game does lock him in as a Hall of Famer when he comes up for the when he comes up on the ballot.
Interesting, and we are potentially looking at a monster year 5 years from now with the Hall of Fame. Thanks very much, Buster. You take a look at the Angels and the Red Sox series, which begins Wednesday at 10 o'clock Eastern Time. That's the first game. Friday, 9:30 Eastern Time, also out west, and then back to Boston on Sunday. The division series can all be heard on ESPN Radio. So you think about what the Angels were able to do during the season against the Red Sox. Success, Peter, but postseason, you give the nod to Boston. What happens this time?
Well, I think it's a very different situation this time around. I think, for one thing, what's really important for the Angels is that they finally got their infield healthy, probably the healthiest they've been all year. I mean, Ibar, who can bunt at any time. You've got Figgins, who can bunt at any time. Kendrick, who in a lot of ways is their best situational hitter. You have those three guys healthy for the first time all season. I think also very important, both Figgins and Ibar, excellent bunters. The Red Sox are very worried about how much Mike Lowell can move. That can become a very important factor if Lowell tries to play and those two guys are able to bunt on.
Peter, the Red Sox had their own injury scare today. In the 9th inning of the Red Sox game against the Yankees, Jonathan Papelbon was pitching. He had a rough inning. He kind of got upset, went over, he kicked a heater with his left foot. He takes off his shoe, checks his foot. In the end, he's okay. And talking with the Red Sox today, they say he's perfectly fine, but I'm sure he's going to get a talking to from manager Terry Francona saying, hey, big guy, we need you.
Right. Let's pad those heaters. All right, Buster, thank you very much.
Exactly. I thought he kicked the cop at first.
Here's the projected rotation. Beckett against Lackey. Lackey wasn't great in his last outing, but you just get the impression that game will be 1-1 the 6th inning, 7th inning. Lester and Santana in game 2. And Dice K will go against Joe Saunders, who had a very good game today in game 3. All right, I mean, you got to get excited about this. This is a division series game. This is like Dodgers-Cubs in the American League. Two teams very capable of going all the way.
Yeah, I think two of the best teams in all of the postseason, American League and National League. But as Peter mentioned, Mike Lowell, that injury to me is a big concern because you got Mike Lowell, last year's World Series MVP, a guy who's a quiet leader, provides pop, but a very athletic third baseman as well. You look at his body, he doesn't look like he's a great mover, but he is tremendous out there with a torn labrum. That's going to limit his mobility. Do you put him on the roster? They're going to have to make a decision.
Yep.
So I think the thing we're going to have to look at here, you got great starting pitching and great closers, so I think it's going to be the pitching in between that really is the deciding factor in this series. Scott Shields, an outstanding 8th inning guy to get the K-Rod at the end of the game. And then you talk about what Justin Masterson has evolved into for the Boston Red Sox. So I think that setup guy is going to be critical in this series.
Well, yeah, and you mentioned the closer, Steven. You know, even though K-Rod had 62 saves this year, I still think that Jonathan Papelbon is the more dominant closer for the simple fact that he has 12 saves of more than 1 inning. And when you're getting a game like this with a lot of the off days that are coming in to this series, in a 5-game series, he can conceivably pitch in every game. And if he can go more than an inning, and that takes away having to worry about your 8th inning guy, if he can pitch, you know, an inning and a third inning and 2/3, you know, your 8th inning guy might have to only get one guy out, and he can come in and finish the deal.
How about if he's short, one big toe?
He'll be fine.
The big left toe, the kicking of the heater. Who knew that would be a fact?
Had the heater. Those darn thing.
Baseball tonight, right back. Joe Madden thinking and managing outside the box has the Rays playing under the roof in the postseason for the first time. And shed a tear. We're saying goodbye to Steve's old home, Shea Stadium.
We followed this rainbow to its end, and you can't imagine what we found. The Internet. Seems it can't hide here either. Simply insert the AT&T Laptop Connect card, and you're connected at up to 3G speeds. Download inventory reports or attend a webinar, all on the go. I'm Bill Curtis, and I just found the Internet.
The Internet can't hide anymore. Switch to the network with the best coverage and get the AT&T Laptop Connect card for free.
Hey, there's birthday cake in the break room.
So, you're growing it out again, huh?
Yeah.
What's next? You gonna get a perm? Look, just because we're partners doesn't mean we have to be twins.
Look at how many chicks you get with that thing.
Can't argue with that.
Right? And you know, pretty soon, I bet people aren't going to be able to tell us apart.
Don't be a sidekick. Eat like an alpha.
It basically took me the whole summer.
And I don't know how many times I needed to go to AutoZone, but at least now when I go, it's not on my bike.
Let's talk internet. What should you look for?
A water skiing squirrel?
Sweet Thai chi moves?
Oh, ex-boyfriends.
Wrong, wrong, and Mr. Wrong. What you should look for is free. Where can we find that?
The Holiday Inn?
What would you say if I had showed you a picture of a coconut?
Probably say coconut, then Holiday Inn.
Must be tiring lugging around that giant brain, Mr. Dowd.
The more you stay, the more you earn. Holiday Inn.
Tonight on SportsCenter, much more of the National League Division Series. Plus, Brett Favre on throwing 6 touchdowns. Tony Romo on losing to the Redskins, and the latest on 2 key NFL injuries. SportsCenter, 11 Eastern.
Baseball tonight, right back at it. Disappointing day and season for the New York Mets. Positive season so far for the White Sox if they can take care of the Tigers at 2 Eastern on ESPN2. Chicago needs a win, then they'll play the Twins. As for the Mets, it all comes apart in the 8th inning. Back-to-back home runs they give up. Wes Helms followed by Dan Uggla. And the last day of the season turns out to be the elimination day once again for the New York Mets. Unable to get any more than 2 runs off the Florida Marlins, who go in there and take 2 of 3 except for the Santana game and ruin the New York Mets, saying so long to Shea Stadium. Here's TJ Quinn.
Its final game, Shea Stadium had no more miracles to give. A tired starter, a hapless bullpen, and a slumping offense were too much for the Mets. And they finished 2008 with a collapse just as painful as last year's.
It burns. It's a bad feeling. And this is just the beginning. All 25 guys need to, really look at themselves in the mirror and do whatever that they can and whatever's possible to get better.
Most of that attention will be on the bullpen.
We knew we were having some people out of place in the bullpen. We knew that. We knew that wasn't quite something that was going to hit on all cylinders. So we had to kind of mix and match, flip and flop, that type of thing. But in saying that, we probably needed for a guy to step up, 1 or 2 guys to step up offensively to kind of lighten that load. That just was too much. Too much playing with that type of stuff was. That was too much for us. We couldn't overcome that.
I think when you fall behind in the game like that, and you know that you have to win, we got tendency of trying to do too much, and when we try to do too much, things doesn't work that way.
While the greatest names in Mets history took the field for a final goodbye, the current crop just walked into the clubhouse. They knew that whatever they do in the coming seasons, they will always be remembered as the team that closed Shea Stadium on a September day before any of their fans were ready. In Queens, TJ Quinn, ESPN.
They let anybody on the field there behind TJ.
Except Phillips.
Except for Steve, exactly. An oversight not having our friend pull down one of those numbers. Disappointing. They opened in 64. Citi Field will open in 2009. You can see what the Mets win-loss mark is. They hosted 2 World Series clinchers in 69 and 86, last in the World Series under the guidance of the commander, Steve Phillips. We'll come back on Baseball Tonight. It's the nicest thing we've ever said.
It is, thank you.
You're welcome. Enjoy tomorrow's game. Look forward to that. The most valuable player, is it Ryan Howard? Who else in the National League deserves consideration? Albert Pujols and the best of the stretch run right after this.
When you have way to save from Wachovia, saving is easy. With every Wachovia Visa check card purchase or online bill pay, $1 is transferred from your free checking to a high-interest savings account. Plus, you can earn up to $300 just for saving. So you can save more every day. Are you with Wachovia?
It takes team chemistry to play in October.
Say hello to first place.
That's why there's no language barrier on this team. It's more than a chemistry, it's like telepathy.
He dives, and oh, what a catch! Amazing!
And there's one thing on our mind.
October.
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
Cubs win!
There's only one October.
ESPN360.com, your online home for live college football. Catch out-of-market and exclusive games no matter where you are. With TV quality picture, experience total control. Plus, view multiple matchups at once. Go online to watch more than 300 live games this season or replay any great moments you've missed. Log on to ESPN360.com each week for live college football. Available on Verizon, AT&T, and other select internet providers.
Baseball tonight, Ryan Braun. Midway through the season, an all-star. Some considered him to be an MVP candidate. Faded a wee bit, but what a last couple of days to the regular season. The Grand Slam, and then this go-ahead shot today that helped put the Brewers into the postseason. Ryan Braun finishes with 37 home runs. Big numbers. Other men under consideration for the National League Most Valuable Player Award, Carlos Delgado. He also was the opposite of Braun. He was nowhere when the season began. Midway through, nothing. Ends up with 38 and $115. If you just strictly went by power numbers, is not even close. 48 homers, 146 runs batted in. Watch out for the 199 Ks that Ryan Howard had. Albert Pujols, total package, 357, 37 and $116. He's been dominant. Well, San Francisco used to voting for MVPs with Barry Bonds and what he was doing. We're joined now by Henry Schulman, who has a vote in this, and he is joining us on the Progressive Insurance Hotline. All right, Henry, so the candidates seem rather obvious when you're talking about Albert Pujols really is the #1 guy, according to many, and then Ryan Howard. Are you going to go with one of those two or someone else?
Yeah, Pujols is going to be #1 with me. He just consistently from day one was a great player for the St. Louis Cardinals this year. I mean, here's a guy who, month after month after month played consistently well. He led the league in OPS by 70 points, which is really hard to do. I mean, the fact that he walked 100 times this year when Ryan Ludwig was having an almost MVP caliber season, hitting behind him for a good part of the season, just speaks volumes about what National League pitchers felt about facing Pujols. In fact, it's almost hard for me to find who to pick for second. I'm even considering picking Brad Lidge because, I mean, 41 for 41 in saves is just ridiculous. If you don't think that's valuable, just ask the Mets. But, I mean, I think it goes back to the fact that Pujols, more than any of the candidates on the teams that made the playoffs, was just a great player in 2008 and deserves to be the MVP.
All right, Henry, I'm glad you brought up Brad Lidge. Thanks very much for joining us. Look forward to reading you in the San Francisco Chronicle.
You bet.
All right, guys, NL MVP. I mean, Howard's numbers are going to be the ones that jump out at everybody. Is he the guy?
Well, if he is for me, Albert Pujols, to me, is the best player in the National League, probably the best player in baseball right now as far as offense goes. But, you know, Ryan Howard's a fourth hitter, and when you're a fourth hitter in the lineup, the last thing you want him to do is be very, very selective at the plate. You want him to drive in runs. That's what the fourth hitter is there for, and he does it better than anyone in baseball as far as producing runs, driving them in. You know, if Jimmy Rollins was having an MVP-type season, if Chase Utley, who faded in the second half, Pat Burrell faded in the second half, this is the reason why this team is in the postseason, is because of Ryan Howard. Pujols is the best player. Howard's the most valuable.
Chris?
Well, for me, Albert Pujols, when you look at those numbers, I mean, they're just consistent all the way across the board, and that's how good he is. He's played injured all year. Back in spring training, he knew they had a problem in the elbow. Will have surgery after the season, but he continued to go out and perform this year. And had they gone out and gotten some players in July like Tony La Russa wanted, they would be in a position for the postseason, I think, over the Milwaukee Brewers. But they didn't. He's going home. He's going to have surgery, but played through pain, battled, and continued to do what he's done every season in the big league. So when you do look at those numbers, without question, it is Albert Pujols.
See, I'm going Albert Pujols as well. I mean, Ryan Howard had 48 home runs compared to 37 home runs for Pujols. So 11 more home runs. And in those 11 at-bats, Ryan Howard was better than Albert Pujols. But Ryan Howard struck out 145 more times than Albert Pujols did. I think the way to look at it, you got two first basemen. If you take Albert Pujols and the production he had this year, and you put him on the Philadelphia Phillies at first base, defensively and offensively, are the Phillies a better team with Pujols or with Ryan Howard? In my opinion, it's not even close. They'd be much better with Albert Pujols. That's to me, is why he's the most valuable player.
That was kind of an attack on you, actually.
Well, it is an attack, but we don't know how Albert Pujols would react to playing in a city like Philadelphia either. So it's all hindsight. Steve just making up stuff again.
After you extended the olive branch earlier, you do that.
When it gets personal, means I was right.
Oh, goodness. Your MVP candidates in the American League, Justin Morneau and Joe Mauer. Mauer ends up winning the American League batting title, edging out Dustin Pedroia. And Kevin Youkilis, also a member of the Red Sox. Those are your top American League MVP candidates. Is there another one? Continuing our award ceremony here on Baseball Tonight, we now bring in Mark Topkin of the St. Petersburg Times and the Progressive Insurance Hotline. Mark, you have a vote for the American League MVP award. So how do you see yourself voting right now?
Well, Carl, it's such an interesting year because the two best teams in the American League, the Angels and the Rays, neither one really has an obvious candidate. So I think having said that, and still not quite sure, but leaning this way is, looking at Dustin Pedroia because, not only what he's done, but the timing in which he did it, given the state the Red Sox were in following the trade, Ortiz's injury. Justin Morneau, given what he's meant to the Twins. And I don't think you can ignore Josh Hamilton. I mean, even with the slower second half, the way he put up those numbers has been very impressive.
So that would be your order, that you would right now go with Pedroia first, Morneau, and then Josh Hamilton?
Leaning that way.
All right, Mark, we appreciate you joining us here on Baseball Tonight. We'll find out what our crew here thinks about that. Thanks, Mark.
All right, Carl.
Hi, Mark. Let's bring in Peter Gammons. Nellie Fox in 1959 stood 5 feet 9 inches. Dustin Pedroia is 5 feet 9 inches. He might be the shortest since Fox to get it. Is he going to get it?
Actually, he's 5'5.5", but that's okay. No, I think he should be. I mean, I think Joe Mauer and Josh Hamilton and Justin Morneau, I think they're all very good candidates. But I take, Pedroia and Morneau's OPS almost exactly the same. Extra base hits the same. 73 walks, 52 strikeouts. 73 extra base hits, 52 strikeouts. 4 ground ball errors all season for Pedroia, and the energy he brings to the team every single day. To me, he's just a completely special player.
All right, so that is the Pedroia vote from Peter Gammons. Buster, who do you think is going to win it?
I tell you what, I couldn't argue with Pedroia, couldn't really argue with Youkilis, couldn't argue with Morneau, but my guy would be Joe Mauer. You think about it. Being a catcher and winning a batting title, that's pretty special in itself. Hitting .330, driving 85 runs. But the work he does with that pitching staff, with such a young group of pitchers in a year after Johan Santana leaves the team, I think of this about Pedroia. If you back him up and have him have a year where he hit like 280, then the Red Sox will probably still make the playoffs. If the Twins don't get what they get out of Joe Mauer, they don't even sniff the playoffs, and they're not the surprise team that they've been this year.
All right, Buster. Not sure, though, the way Pedroia played when Manny was gone and Ortiz was hurt, that they'd get in. I mean, this was a team that had a battle to get into the postseason. The thoughts of Buster and Peter. We'll come back to you up on this edition of Baseball Tonight. Yes, sir. Bring in the rock and roll. Gammons is here. We're going to play the Diamond Cuts when Baseball Tonight comes back.
Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire.
We've come all the way out here, and you'll never believe what we've found. The Internet. Seems it can't hide here either. Simply insert the AT&T Laptop Connect card. You're connected at up to 3G speeds. Email business proposals and place orders online, all on the go. I'm Bill Curtis, and I've just found the Internet.
The Internet can't hide anymore. Switch to the network with the best coverage and get the AT&T Laptop Connect card for free.
Having an issue with your deodorant? Try Gillette Clinical Strength Antiperspirant. With odor-fighting microcapsules and wetness protection, that's 34% better than a prescription product. Gillette Clinical Strength Antiperspirant. Change your life, not your shirt.
From Paramount Pictures, the greatest films of all time are finally available on Blu-ray High Def. The Godfather Coppola Restoration, the best Blu-ray of 2008. Own it today.
Monday, the day you're once again reminded the customer is always right.
I didn't use it.
Despite all evidence to the contrary.
Excuse me, where's aisle 8?
It means another 5 days of Murphy being right about things going wrong. But with Monday comes Monday Night Football on ESPN, where Ray Lewis and the Ravens take on Big Ben and the Steelers. So suck it up, sonny boy. On Monday nights, you're the only customer we care.
300 horsepower is fast. 400 will take your breath away. That's why we gave it 451. The C63 AMG. The C-Class. Now in its most potent form ever.
Big Tobacco's products wipe out a town this size every day.
Monday Night Football. The Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers, 8:30 Eastern Time. Stay tuned to Baseball Tonight, folks. We're hoping to be on after the WNBA game tomorrow evening on ESPN2 to provide you with full insights into what happened between the White Sox and the Tigers, as well as more of a preview of the Tampa Bay Rays series coming up. We haven't delved into the Rays because we don't yet know who they're going to play. That is tomorrow night, Monday Night Football, 8:30 Eastern Time. Baseball Tonight all week. What do you say we're bringing the Diamond Cuts all season long on the Sunday edition of Baseball Tonight? We've married music with the best plays from the past week. We have had outstanding individual and team performances, so now it's time to look at the Diamond Cuts.
Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire.
To the warning track, to the wall. Gone! And the Phils sweep the Brewers, winning all 4 games. Up the middle, J-Roll dives. Utley one, reading. The Phillies are the National League Eastern Division champions.
Well, the Mets continue to shoot themselves in the foot here, and they are headed for the exits en masse here at Shea Stadium.
Here comes the throw by Fukudome up the line, and Church goes around the tag, and he scores! He scores! And Carlos rips one off the glove. Here comes Reyes. He'll score, and the Mets win it!
A 3-hit shutout for Johan Santana, and the Mets are alive.
Prince Fielder! A walk-off winner!
Swing and a drive to left. Way back. Way gone. Grand slam. Land run. And it is party time at home plate.
And there's a drive into left field. This is hit well. And it's gone! Right in front! A 2-run home run! You just spit out home.
The second straight season, the Mets' year ends in abject disappointment on the final day.
Take the corner, go in the crash.
Deep right center field. Back out of Toko Chris. The wall. Gone! Welcome to the team, Dan Johnson.
Go in the crash.
This is going to do it. The Rays stay in first place.
He's got 3 tonight.
In foul territory, Longoria is there, and Tampa Bay is going to the postseason for the first time in franchise history.
The defending world champions are heading back to the postseason to try and defend their title.
3-2 from Zambrano. Swing on it. No hitter. Carlos Zambrano has no hit. The Houston Astros. Drive, and it's going to go to tie it. That's the ball game. Cubs win. Edmonds will make the catch. Yes! Yes! Yes!
You can put it on the board. Yes! Line to center, and the Twins move into first place.
High fly ball right center field. There is no doubt about it. Rodriguez delivers. He struck him out swinging. Save number 58.
We'll come back on Baseball Tonight. In spite of the teams that have gotten in, there may be some very, very big news revolving around the Boston Red Sox and their ace, Josh Beckett. Stay where you are. We'll be right back.
What's going on, big guy?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, you're gonna love this. I'm wearing the new Hanes boxer briefs.
Oh, yeah?
They don't ride up your leg. Check it out.
Underwear that stays put. New from Hanes. That's the Comfort Fit Promise.
What can I get you? MGD 64. Got it?
Oh, I'll have 64 calories of a Michelob Ultra.
Okay. We got food, we got burgers, we got dogs, we got salad.
12 ounces, 64 calories. MGD 64. As light as it gets.
We only got one room left, but I doubt you'll want it.
Why not?
It's a dead zone. Can't get your calls, your precious emails. It's like you don't even exist.
I've got the Verizon network.
You good?
Oh. Towels are kind of scratchy.
We test America's largest 3G network every day. Verizon Wireless. Get the exclusive pink BlackBerry Curve, now just $99.99.
In Italy, you'll find Florence. In this case, Florence is a cow. And important because Italian cheesemakers wanted to make the best Parmesan and more of it. Knowing that cows fed certain feeds produce higher yields of Parmesan, Cargill developed special feeds and a supply chain so the cheesemakers get just the right milk. Now Florence, the cow, delivers lots of quality Parmesan to Florence, the city. This is how Cargill works with customers.
Tonight on SportsCenter, much more of the National League Division Series. Plus, Brett Favre on throwing 6 touchdowns. Tony Romo on losing to the Redskins, and the latest on 2 key NFL injuries. SportsCenter, 11 Eastern.
Baseball Tonight, brought to you by Hanes. Look who we've got our Hanes on now.
I'm back here on Baseball Tonight. An early report from the Boston Herald and now confirmed by Terry Francona that Josh Beckett on Friday sustained a strained oblique muscle when throwing a bullpen session. As a result, the Red Sox rotation now is going to be John Lester in Game 1, Daisuke Matsuzaka in Game 2, and then they're going to slot in with a question mark Josh Beckett on Sunday. This is a series that goes Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. How devastating a potential is this if Beckett is unavailable through the entire division series?
Well, it could be very devastating, but you have to remember Paul Bird last year in the postseason for the Indians was very, very good. And you're not, he's not Josh Beckett. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's Josh Beckett, but very capable starting pitcher that can fill in. Thank goodness they went and got him.
Go ahead, Steve.
I think the problem for the Red Sox is that whomever that third starter is, if it's not Josh Beckett, it becomes a bullpen game. And the middle relief is the big issue. Other than Justin Masterson, who can get the ball to Jonathan Papelbon late? So a real question. But Lester Matsuzaka is still a pretty good 1-2 punch.
It is formidable, and Daisuke's had success away from home. It would mean if they can get through by winning one of the first 2, they're going back to Fenway Park. And, Peter, then you have Beckett potentially or somebody else, but you're at home.
Well, definitely home field is very important in this series for both teams. And I think, the one thing the last month, Red Sox bullpen has been pretty good. Okachiba's been very good. Lopez has been good. Del Carmen at times has been very good. I think Masterson is a huge key in this series. So, I agree with Steve. They're going to have to win 1 or 2 bullpen games. But that's true of both clubs because with Arredondo and Shields and Rodriguez, the whole bullpen thing really becomes a huge issue in this series.
Now, it's a little bit different because one of the headlines is the Patriots lose Tom Brady, the Red Sox lose Josh Beckett. In Brady's case, he didn't have a capable backup. In the case of the Red Sox, if you're Pedroia or Youkilis and you see your big horse go down, How do you react to it?
Well, they know that they've been through adversity this season, and this is just another situation where they're going to have to overcome. They've done it all year long with the whole Manny deal and that him being traded, Jason Bay coming in, him doing a great job. They found a way to get it done, and that's what you expect. John Lester, he's a #1 type of guy, and I think he'll step up in that role.
And Buster says Carl Crawford likely to return for the Rays series. Thanks for watching baseball tonight. We'll see you Monday night. So long, everybody.
This is SportsCenter.
Sunday, the Mets and Brewers scoreboard watching. The NL wildcard settled by a couple of home runs. In the American League, the White Sox and Twins doing their best to play another day. Ozzy's squad was something left to prove. In the NFL, Brett Favre throws for 6. That's right, 6 touchdowns. Aaron Rodgers down and possibly out. And in Dallas, T.O. takes a shot at his own team. And get this, Titans and Bills win again. The Broncos, however, exposed in Kansas City. And the Bolts score 25 in the 4th. SportsCenter, and we mean now. As it turns out, Brett Favre's left ankle was okay, and there was nothing wrong with his arm either. Favre threw 6 touchdown passes, the most he's ever thrown in a single game, and a Jets team record as well. That helped New York blow out the Cardinals 56-35. It's the second most points the Jets have ever scored. And with that, we welcome you to SportsCenter along with John Anderson. I'm Stan Verrett. While Favre was putting on a show for his new fans in New York, the folks in his old stomping grounds were getting excited about the prospect of the Brewers' first playoff trip in a generation.
That's right, the Packers, a distraction to baseball in Wisconsin. Yeah, believe it. The Mets losing out on a playoff spot on the last day of the season for the 2nd straight year. Might have to see that to believe it. Actually, we're going to show you both because doings at Shea Stadium, Miller Park, intertwined like comedy and tragedy. CC Sabathia, 3 days rest, getting the ball again. Michael Hoffpower hits a grounder to first under the legs of Prince Fielder. Take another look, and this is just this is your basic booty E on your first baseman. Right there. Got to stay down on that. Aramis Ramirez advanced over to third. So we got a bit of a threat against CC. Later in the frame, Ronnie Cedeno grounds it to short. They're going to try and turn that 6-4-3, but Cedeno beats it out. The run scores, and Chicago has a 1-zip lead. Meanwhile, back at Shea Stadium, 3:19 Eastern. 6th inning, Oliver Perez in a jam with a runner on second. Nobody out. John Baker. That's down. Cameron Maben will come in to score, and the Marlins get on the board first 1-0. Perez would exit the game, taking his cap to the Shea crowd. Things, everybody's okay. Very early still. Joe Smith comes on, bases loaded, 1 out. Very tense situation, though. He walks Josh Willingham. That brings in another fish. Florida takes the 2-0 lead. Let's go back to Miller Park. 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 local if you happen to be there. Bernie Brewer, look at him. Even the mascots are nervous. You know you got pressure there, right? Bottom 6, Sabathia up with 1 out. Now, he's been pitching on 3 days rest, so getting a lot of swings in the cage, and look at that. That is a monster shot that is hooking foul. Sabathia just misses tying the game up. Later at the at-bat, big 52. Grounds back to the pitcher, and, well, we don't have to run that out. Save yourself. You got to throw some pitches, big fella. That's off Kevin Hart. So we're going to go back to Shea, 3:41. Just 11 minutes later, Mets trying to fight their way back. Home half of the 6th. Carlos Beltran up with 1 on, and that is far. A 2-run shot is 27th of the year, and the Mets are even. Dugout, new life, much excitement. We're tied at 2. Wonder how that's going over at Miller Park. 4:02 Eastern, back in Milwaukee. Drop the L. Mets tie game. Brewers threatening to take the lead. Bottom 7, bases loaded. Corey Hart strikes out. Next batter, Craig Counsell. Oh, look at that. It's been 26 years. Just walks as good as a hit. Counsell down to first. Ray Durham coming home. Milwaukee ties the game at 1-7. Shea Stadium, 4:15 in the afternoon. Mets call on Scott Schoenweiss. Oh, no, bullpen. Wes Helms, former crew member, the pinch hitter. Solo shot, and Florida jumps out in front, 3-2. This cannot be good. This is the last day of Shea Stadium. We can't go out this way. Luis Ayala enters from the pen. Dan Uggla exits from the ballpark, a solo homer. Back-to-back home runs off Mets relievers, and the Marlins are up 4-2. Yeah, we've seen this before. Sadly, 4:22 Eastern, back on the shores of Lake Michigan. Ryan Braun in the 8th. A man on. Behold the power of cheese. A 2-run shot by Braun, his 37th. He was the hero the other night. Does it again. Miller Park erupts. Look at this place. It's crazy. Milwaukee goes up 3-1 on Braun's clutch home run. They can sniff, if not the postseason, at least a playoff game from where they're at.
Or a bratwurst.
That could have just been a bratwurst. Might have just been a sausage out there. Could have been a knockwurst. My bad. Top 9 CC for a complete game. Derek Lee grounds into the 4-6-3 to end the game. The Brewers win at 3-1. Sabathia, another complete game. 4 hits, 1 run allowed. It was unearned. 7 Ks. So they untuck them, but they're going to have to wait before they can uncork them. They got to see what's happening over there in New York. So we got everything. We got it sealed. We're safety. We're not getting anything soggy, but they need 6 outs in New York. So we go back to Shea about 4:30. Bottom 8. Mets know what's happening in Milwaukee. They got to have something good happen. 2 outs. Jose Reyes. That's a ground rule double. So the Mets trying to rally with 2 outs. Tying run at the plate. Kevin Gregg pitched to Carlos Beltran. That's a walk. So we got guys on first and second. Bring in lefty Arthur Rose to face lefty Carlos Delgado. The go-ahead run. Is he going to be a hero? He's going to hit it far, but Josh Willingham tracks that down at the track. Mets 3 outs away from the end of the season. We go to the 9th. A playoff at best now for the Mets. It's all they can hope for at this point. David Wright leading off, pops it up, way up, second base. 1 they got. Andy Chavez would ground out to the pitcher for 2 outs. Jose Reyes, look at that. Confidence level waning. Came in easily, ball 4. There's life. Tying run will come to the plate again, and the Mets fans praying for 1 more game at their beloved Shea Stadium. Sunday's a Church day. Ryan Church, 0 for 3 with 3 Ks, gets his bat on it, but Cameron Maybin makes the catch. Marlins win 4-2. Jerry Manuel left to wonder what might have been. David Wright, another long off season. And by the way, back at Miller Park, they do not share that somber mood. 5:04 Eastern. Everybody for the last half hour packed in the clubhouse watching this thing. 40,000 people in the stands watching on the big board. And there it is. The Brewers secure their first postseason berth since 1982. That's right. Now, really, it's a beer town.
That's it. You get champagne and beer.
But you can get the High Life, which, of course, as you know, is the champagne of beer. Sabathia gets the champagne sour. He and Braun saved the season on the final day for Milwaukee, and they end the 2nd longest playoff drought in the Bigs. Sabathia, 17 starts since the trade. The Brewers 14-3 when he goes to the Hill. The Mets finished their stay at Shea 1,859 up, 1,713 down. They needed 1 more win. That'd be this year or last. Bullpen gets criticized, but the offense just 5 runs this weekend against Florida. Let's start with the happy people.
It's incredible, man. It means so much to this team, to this organization, to this city. I couldn't be more proud of my teammates and everything that we've done to get to this point.
We have guys that are, that we got on the team that fit well with us, so it's even that much better.
This has been so fun, just coming here and, the city being embracing me and my family and, the organization taking us in. It's just been a lot of fun. And,
I mean, it's probably one of the, the greatest days in my life as far as baseball goes. I've been fortunate to win a couple other World Series, but obviously the way we did this, getting the playoffs, the character of this team and the players and the organization and Mark bringing CeCe on, obviously, was a difference in our season.
Dale Swain takes over for Ned Yost the last 2 weeks of the season and gets the Brewers in the postseason for the first time since '82. That year, Milwaukee won the American League East. Then they beat the Angels in the ALCS, lost to the Cardinals in the World Series. CC Sabathia just carried the Brewers into the postseason. 2-1, ERA .83 in his last 3 starts, all on 3 days rest. Again, proving Cheddar is better. Sunday, his 7th complete game since coming over from Cleveland, and the home run hero, Braun. 1 dinger the first 24 days of September, but on the final week, 2 huge home runs, and he drives in 8. Meanwhile, Mets fans, well, they're left with the strangest feeling of deja vu. For the 2nd straight season, a loss to the Marlins on the final day knocks New York out of the postseason and officially brings the wrecking ball onto Shea Stadium. Both in 07 and 08, the Mets had their largest lead of the season with 17 games to play. Skids down the stretch to miss the playoffs by 1 game. Not a happy deal there.
I really felt that we'd come out and do some things offensively. Oliver Perez gave us a great effort. There's no question about that. We just didn't get it done.
It does hurt. Of course it hurts. But the bottom line is, you know, we have to continue to put in a winning product, put a winning product on the field. And what's frustrating is it's 1 or 2 wins short. And we have to find a way to get that 1 or 2 win. And so far, you know, the past 2 years, we haven't been able to do it.
It's not fun to have the feeling in your stomach where, you know, you feel like you wasted a season and you wasted an opportunity. And that's what I feel right now. I feel extremely disappointed. You know, and I feel that you don't get these opportunities too often, and when you do, you have to take advantage of them, and we didn't do that this year.
These guys, they were good for me. I wish I could have led them a little further.
So here's your National League playoff picture. The Phillies will host the Brewers and the Cubs will host the Dodgers, with both their series starting on Wednesday. Phillies and Brewers will come at 3 o'clock. Derek Lowe, Ryan Dempster will start Game 1 in Chicago. Cole Hamels goes for the Phillies. Brewers have yet to announce a starter. I mean, after CC, it's a little shaky in that rotation. All these best of 5. Coverage of the entire division series on TBS television, ESPN radio.
I mean, see how he can do on 2 days.
On no days, just bring him back.
You never know. All right, AL Central now. White Sox still trail the Twins by half a game in the division. Ozzy's crew trying to get it together. Top second, no score. Bases empty for Johnny Peralta. This off Mark Burley, who's also pitching on short rest and coming off a 121-pitch outing. Peralta's 23rd of the season, solo job, 1-0 Indians. Bottom second, Paul Konerko up. And Konerko down the line off the rookie pitcher Brian Bullington. And that one's going as well. His 22nd, and it's 1 apiece. Later in the second, bases loaded for Juan Uribe. Hot shot over to third. Jamie Carroll can't handle it. Ken Griffey Jr. coming home on the error. Took another look at it. Funny hop on Carroll. 2-1 White Sox at that point. Top 5, 3-1 White Sox. 1-on-2 out for Grady Sizemore. Burley got him. He struck out 6. Top 7, 1-on-1 out for Franklin Gutierrez. That'll start the double play. Burley got 4 of those. 7 innings of work, gave up just 1 earned run. Bottom 7, 3-1 Sox. A.J. Przinsky up. That's well hit. But well played. Grady Sizemore still going all out on the final day of the regular season for the Indians. Then later, 2 on for Jermaine Dye. They won't get to that one. Uribe and Orlando Cabrera score. The White Sox score to win at 5-1 with a strong performance from their starting pitcher. So what about the Twins? They had the Royals in town at the Metrodome. Scott Baker got the nod for the Twins. Top second, first to second, 2 out. Baker gets John Buck to get out of the jam. Game remains scoreless. Bottom second now, Denard Span. That's going to be trouble. Nick Punto coming around. And the Twins out to the early lead. Meanwhile, Baker doing his thing. Top 5, he's got a 2-0 lead, and he's got Alex Gordon, too. Keelan Kaye got him, too. Baker struck out the side in the 5th. Top 6 now, he gets Mitch Meyer looking. His 4th strikeout in a row, 9 straight battery retired. He went 7 innings, gave up just 4 singles. Bottom 7, Delman Young bringing Alexi Casilla and Joe Mauer home. Give the Twins a 4-0 cushion at that point. Then bottom 8, second and third for Joe Mauer in a tight race with Dustin Pedroia for the AL batting title. And a triple will help. Punto and Denard Span coming around. Mauer 2 for 5. Twins going to win at 6-0. And now they sit and watch on Monday for Chicago's makeup game.
We finished the season ahead by a half a game. Who would have thunk it at the beginning of the year? I know we didn't give us much of a chance, and here we are. And now, whether it's a playoff game against the White Sox or going on down to Tampa, we're in a pretty good position here to wait and see what happens.
Kind of crazy. I mean, obviously play 161 games, and today's supposed to be the last day of the year. Everybody going home. A lot of people going to the playoffs, and here we got to play another game. That matters for us.
At least we have another shot. At least we have 2 shots. And I think if we just need to win. You know, I just told the coaches, if we win 1 game, we might free a little bit and feel a little bit better about themselves. And hopefully that situation happens. You know, the only thing we can do is just win the next 2 games and play the best we can the next day. Everybody should be ready for the next 2 games. See, I take my chance. We're playing here.
So here's the situation. White Sox still trail the Twins by half a game, so Chicago will have to play a makeup game against the Tigers Monday in Chicago. Freddie Garcia will pitch for Detroit. You remember Freddie, he won Game 4 of the World Series for Chicago in 2005. Chicago's going to rely on 16-8 Gavin Floyd. If the White Sox win on Monday, then they play again, a one-game playoff that they'll host against the Twins on Tuesday. You can see Monday's game, 2 Eastern, on ESPN2.
Well, plenty more baseball coming here on SportsCenter, including the Mets once again picking up the pieces. Plus, we'll hear why Peter Gammons likes the Dodgers in the division series. Not only did the Redskins win Sunday in Dallas, they seem to have sparked some controversy within the Cowboys offense. Big D, undefeated, no more. Plus, Boomer and TJ run the blitz on Brett Favre, doing something, well, not even Brett Favre has done. Till now. That's coming up on SportsCenter.
With a permanent or temporary generator from Tri-City Electric, you'll have the power to weather any storm. Tri-City Electric, serving the Midwest since 1895.
It's Toyota's National Clearance Event, the perfect time for amazing deals and selection. Come in now and get low 0% APR financing on the best-selling compact truck, the 2008 Tacoma, or get $2,500 cash back. Or choose the 2008 Motor Trend Truck of the Year, Tundra, with 0% financing for 60 months, or $4,000 cash back. So don't miss this opportunity to save big at the Toyota National Clearance Event. Hurry into your Toyota dealer today.
Ross Postian understands Iowa. Ross Postian is a small businessman who's a fifth-generation award-winning farmer and a past president of the Farm Bureau. Now, Ross Postian wants to serve Scott County as our state representative, to renew and grow our economy and promote good-paying jobs, to fight high taxes and reckless spending, and work on getting our energy prices down again. Ross Postian understands our needs. Ross Postian for state representative.
Kids, saving energy starts at the furnace.
A professional tune-up every year keeps it safe and energy efficient.
Good, Carmen.
But you should also change your furnace filter regularly.
That's right, Ethan.
Replacing dirty filters can add years to the life of your furnace.
Get all the facts and more ways to save some green by visiting midamericanenergy.com/EE.
Obsessively, relentlessly, good service.
Mid-American Energy.
SportsCenter, brought to you by McDonald's.
Back on SportsCenter along with Trent Dilfer, Stan Verrett, John Anderson. This weekend, actually I guess it was Thursday, but the #1 team in college went down, USC. They were invincible. All of a sudden now perhaps the #1 team in the NFL has gone down, and Cowboys, right? They were invincible as well.
Yeah, well.
So I was led to believe. I listened to our people on television.
You might get an argument in Buffalo or maybe in Tennessee about who's the #1 team in the NFL. But we'll go with the Cowboys. Your working theory that the Cowboys are the #1
cooperate with me here.
in the NFL. All right, Tony Romo and company taking on the Redskins, possibly the last time at Texas Stadium. Third quarter, Cowboys trailing 17-10. Romo to Terrell Owens, who's in for the touchdown. Cowboys tie the game at 17. T.O. wants the ball more. More on that in a minute. Later in the third, Romo's throw picked off by Chris Horton, who's been an interception machine. Redskins kick the field goal. They led 23-17 going into the fourth. Fourth quarter, Redskins go to the ground game. Clinton Portis. Portis' pockets are straight up the middle for the first down. And then 13 more for Portis. Redskins will kick a field goal. 7-minute drive, Washington up 26-17. Cowboys trying to come back. Still down 9 under 2 minutes to go. Romo to Miles Austin. He's in. Cowboys cut the lead to 26-24, so they'll try the onside kick. Sam Hurd had it, but couldn't hold on to it. Goes out of bounds, so the Redskins get the ball, and they get the win as they take it 26-24. They win for just the second time in 13 trips to Texas Stadium, and the Cowboys lose for the first time this season. So there goes your #1 team in the NFL. Cliff Portis, he ran for 121 yards. Washington's defense held the Cowboy rushers to just 44 on the ground. Washington gets to 3-1 on the season, and Liddell Betts said everybody has to look at the Redskins in a different light right now. This is a great team. We can beat anybody. but the Cowboys having some issues amongst themselves.
I thought they outplayed us. I thought they outplayed our offense. They outplayed our defense. They outplayed our special teams and our coaching. I mean, all of it. So take your pick.
The only benefit I see from getting a loss at this time of the year to a team like this is that you know some of the negative things that you did that you get to work on. And I think we'll be able to go back and look at some of the things that we need to do to get better at. And, you know, sometimes that can be a blessing in disguise.
Clint Portis had struggled his first 3 games at Dallas, but Sunday was a different story. The Redskins running back ran the ball 21 times, 121 yards, and Washington controlled the clock for more than 38 minutes. He's the first Redskins back to run for 100 yards in Dallas since Ernest Biner in 1991. And Terrell Owens, we didn't hear from him, but after the game, he complained about not getting the ball as much as he would like, saying good things happen when he gets the ball, didn't get it enough. You're a former quarterback. How do you react when a receiver says things like that?
Well, I think it's important to note that the Cowboys did a great job of getting the ball. He touched the ball, I think, 19 or 20 times, if you count the 2 little run plays they gave to him. The comments that I heard him say was, you know, basically, I did my job. And I was open, but when I turned back, the ball wasn't in my hands. And I think this is a very dangerous road to go down because, Tio, you got to learn, you got to deflect this stuff off of you. You just suffered a big loss. Your team did not play as well as you wanted to, but you need to stay away from the spotlight in those situations. What's happening here is it creates a beast where his teammates now start doubting whether or not he's in it for them. He can say all the right things when they win, but now when they lose, he doesn't necessarily deal with the right thing. And it really, it puts a damper that we have to talk about it because we should be talking about the Redskins and what an awesome performance that was and what an amazing feat it's been for Jim Zorn to take this team that looked really bad on offense week 1 and the last 3 weeks has looked as good and as sharp as any offense in the National Football League.
It seemed like in the preseason, everybody in Washington was like, what have we gotten ourselves into with Zorn? And then they weren't exactly great the first week of the season, but they've got things on track. Now, here's what Washington's new coach had to say after getting off to a good start in Dallas.
I can't say enough about our young DBs, but also our safeties, because our safeties had to play like nickelbacks this week, and you know, they had a big challenge ahead of them. I mean, they had a big challenge, and they got the job done.
I mean, I felt like I had some opportunities. You know, like I said, we called some double moves, and sometimes they played the right coverage. You know, and there are other times, like I said, I would come out of my route and the ball was going elsewhere. So there's really not any much more that I can do. I'm trying to run my routes as you know, full speed as I can and trying to get open. But as I said, there was a number of times, like I said, when I come out of my route, the ball's already gone.
I don't know about deflecting things, but apparently he's worried about things reflecting with those glasses on.
Yeah. But you talked about it's a dangerous road to go down. But we've been down this road with Tio how many times? So clearly it doesn't. The spots aren't changing on the Leopard. So the Cowboys seem to know how to deal with him. Really, should I be that concerned that he's going to blow up the locker room and all that stuff? I mean, this is him, and we get by it if you're his teammates.
No, I wouldn't be overly concerned because I think Wade Phillips has done a great job managing the egos on this football team. But last week we talked about how great it was to see Tio only catch 2 balls for 17 yards, yet chase down an interception, make great effort on a run block. But, you know, Tio, those are the things you should do when you're a Pro Bowl receiver. And your team has showed so much growth and maturity and how they've handled this preseason, the beginning of the season, that this was a great opportunity to step up and show the maturity that we thought you might have gained to this point. And in one moment,